Hey folks, MBS here. I'm going to be looking at a HG Monaro brake setup today. We're going to go through the front and rear brakes, just inspect it all. This is a Renault that Nick's doing. You've seen me work on the engine, doing the lifters. Now we're going to be looking at the brakes, just to make sure everything's in good condition and assembled correctly. And we may adjust them, bleed them, and yeah, just give it a service like so. And we'll start off taking the drums off, yeah? Get these drums off, not an easy job sometimes, all right? They can be seized up around that axle joint here, all rusted up, and it takes a fair bit to loosen them off. Now, you're supposed to have a slogger, not this tiny little panel beater's hammer, okay? I don't know if this will actually even work. But there's two ways to get this, well, there's three ways to get the drum off actually, but if you want to use screwdrivers and jam them in behind here if you can and pull them out, you can do that if you're lucky, but you'll end up bending your backing plates doing that, so that's not a great idea. The second one is to just tap it with a hammer on the outside edge of the drum, never hit the surface here where the shoe runs on, and you can tap it here, but be careful you don't hit a stud. Okay, that's a bit of a dangerous one to do, especially if you've got a big 3 or 4 pound hammer. There's not much room in between there to give that a good little tap in there. This one I'd probably get away with, but all you do is just hit the thing, and hopefully it comes off. If that doesn't move it, there we go. Ooh, off she comes. And in there, a whole stack of dust, yeah? So have a look at the drum, see what it looks like, see it hasn't got any shiny marks on it, it's not badly worn, hasn't got a big groove just in here, because if it's got a big groove in that drum, you won't get these off, eh? Oh, not the shoes, you won't get the drum off, because if the brakes are adjusted properly and spread out in the drum, and it's got a big lip on the drum, you can't actually pull the drum off, yeah? Makes it very difficult. We've got that off. We'll do the other side in a minute, and we'll have a good little look at this and go from there. All right, let's have a look at the brakes in a little bit more detail. Well, you can see straight away this has had a stud relocation on the axle. That's because this has got a 9-inch diff in it, so it's had a conversion. So they've modified the axle to the Holden stud pattern. All right, well, you've got a leading shoe and you've got a trailing shoe. Leading shoes to the front, trailing shoe to the rear. And you can tell there's a difference between them by the amount of bonded material on the brake shoe, yeah? You can see here, very short, long, okay? The short one goes on your leading shoe, generally, and the trailing is your long shoe. What happens? It pivots down here on this point down here. There's a brake adjuster down here that we'll be adjusting later. And it's got self-adjusting brakes on it. It's got the cable on here onto this little lever that lifts up and down and moves that little adjustment wheel around and keeps the brakes adjusted. You've got your 2 retainers that keep the brake shoe onto the backing plate, all right? That's your shoes there. We've got a big return spring in there. That all looks good, all hooked up properly, okay? So that looks pretty good. And the handbrake lever, and he's got a handbrake cable there not connected up. That's all good. Now what we want to do is check the wheel cylinders, yeah? Make sure that they're not leaking. So all we do there is peel this rubber back, get a little screwdriver under there, peel that rubber back and see if any brake fluid comes out. Okay, none, so that's good. Do the other side as well, just not one side. Just peel it back. If there's brake fluid in there, you'll see it come out, okay? Nothing, dry as a bone. Very good. So wheel cylinders in good nick. Brake shoes look like they're good. So we should have no dramas with this. Whether the wheel cylinders actually work, we'll test that later. It'll be a two-man operation, one person operating the brakes, and we'll try and turn the drum and see if they spin freely, and then we'll go our adjustment from there. All right, let's come up with a scenario that your brake shoes are wet from brake fluid leaking out of your wheel cylinders, yeah? Don't throw them away, they can be cleaned up, okay? You can just use this product, Brake Clean. That's what it's designed to do. You spray it on, like I can do it, won't do any harm whatsoever. You spray it onto your shoe, you get a rag, and you wipe it off, yeah? All the brake fluid that's absorbed into that shoe will extract out into the fluid, and then you just wipe all the brake fluid off. You'd have to do it a couple of times, but when the brake shoe comes up looking like it's dry, you've absorbed all that brake fluid out of your shoe and you're good to go. You can do it on your front pads too. I've never seen that done before, but if you do have a caliper leak and it leaks onto your shoe, yeah, you're not going to have front brakes for a start, but you can absorb the brake fluid out. Some people will just go, oh, stuff it, I'll just put new shoes on. Yeah, you can do that too, that's fine. You can do that without a problem in the world. A little bit more money. I think these are a couple of bucks. That's super cheap, the cheap shit this stuff is. But you can get much, much better quality, like $9 or $10 a can from various places. But that's what we've always used in the brake trade. Bit of brake clean onto your shoes and clean them all up. And great for washing parts up too. All your brake parts, you wash them all up in brake clean. And it does the job very, very well. Right, now what I want to do is, because this is a disc brake conversion vehicle, I'm just going to check the wheel cylinder sizes if I can, try and get that rubber right out of my way and measure the diameter of the wheel cylinder. The wheel cylinders get smaller at the rear when you have discs at the front, all right? This used to be a four drum brakes. Now it's got front discs, so we have to make sure that the disc conversion has been done on the back and the right wheel cylinders have been put on. Alright, so I'm going to do that. I won't bother filming this bit, I'll just check that and let you know. Well, that was a little bit of effort to actually measure that because it's so tight in there, but this has definitely got the wrong wheel cylinders on it. It's still got the drum brake rear end. Alright, so it's got 7/8 of an inch piston diameter when it should be 9/16 of an inch for disc brakes. So we're going to have to change out the wheel cylinders. Another job coming up later on for you. Alright, so he will get a couple of those in and then I'll come over and I'll replace the wheel cylinders. We'll see me pulling the whole brake assembly apart and we'll go from there. Alright, so when I was talking before, we got this pivot point here. The wheel cylinder pushes these shoes out and they both anchor here on a big pin. The shoes pull out and then they start rubbing on the drum. Eh? That's how the drum brake works, just like a big open fan like that. That's how they work. All right. So if you've got the wrong diameter brake shoes compared to your drum diameter, you won't have efficient braking because this will only touch on a very small part of the shoe instead of most of the shoe, because when this spreads out and it's pivoted down here, the shoe makes full contact virtually around the whole surface of that brake shoe. Will touch the drum and pull the vehicle up. So if you're not getting that, because your shoes are the wrong size or you've had your drums machined and you've ended up putting standard shoes back on with an oversized drum, it's not going to work too well for you. And I've come across that a couple of times in my mechanical experience, my mechanical life. Yeah, people have had them machined and just put standard shoes back on sometime down the track. And probably the mechanics never measured the drum to see if it's the right size, and they've just replaced the shoes with standard shoes, and of course you lose brake efficiency. So you have to make sure that your shoe fits properly. And when I come back, I'll show you how to check that. Yeah, all we're going to do is just put that shoe inside the drum and make sure it's perfectly seated inside the drum. Alright, so this side, apart from the wheel cylinder being the wrong size, everything looks good in here. You can see the adjuster, I don't know if you can see it in the camera there, but the adjuster is actually out a fair way. So there must be a little bit of wear on those shoes. Okay, but everything looks like it works fine. And I'll get him to press the brake pedal for me later when I put the drum back on. We're going to do exactly the same for the other side. So you've seen one side, you've seen them all. So no point in me taking all my gear around to the other side. That's basically what I want to show you here. So let's move on to the front and have a look at the discs. Rightio, front brakes. Nothing here that I can't see that's wrong. It's had caliper recode. It's got new disc on it. You can see here, pads are nice and new. You can still see the slot in the pad. All right. When you see that there's no slot left in there, time to change your pads. Yeah, because they always allow you about 2 or 3 mil at the very end of that slot. And that'll get you probably about another maybe 10,000 K if you're lucky, depending how you use your brakes. So that's usually an indicator line of how worn out your pads are. Now, if you're ever changing pads on one of these suckers, this one's a piece of cake, yeah? You just pull the pins out and pull the disc pads out, yeah? Easy, and then you just slide them back in. Now, retracting the caliper. In this one, very, very easy, all right? I've got the killer tool here. Huge pair of multi-grips. Okay, just open them up. You can put it in there between the piston and the body, and you just squeeze. Push the piston back in, yeah? Push it all the way back home. Check that the rubber hasn't popped out of its little groove that it sits in, and it's all sitting nice and flush. And if that rubber on the caliper piston is protruding out, you really need to get that looked at, because if the rubber goes in between the pad and the piston, it's going to kick, okay? And you're going to have all sorts of trouble there. It'll probably eventually cut the rubber and it'll disappear, but if it doesn't, you're going to have that pad kicked and not getting the right pressure put on it. So you'll end up with uneven wear on your pad. Once again, look for leaks anywhere in the caliper there. Make sure it's not leaking. All right, we'll cover a point in another video when we do the brake bleeding, which you have to look out for. All right, so everything looks good here, apart from the tie-rod ends, which the split pin doesn't match the castellated nut. He needs to pack washers underneath that nut to bring it up, so he can put the split pin through and stop that castellated nut from coming loose. Not a dangerous thing, but good practice is to get the split pin to go through the castellated nut, yeah? All right, so everything's good here. Rotates. Okay, all right. Don't worry that it's binding up in one little tiny section. All right, that's not a biggie. Ah, well, I've discovered what that noise is. Just in that one spot. It's been sitting for a while, that's the problem. And if I get it just in the right light, I can see the disc pad mark on the disc. All right, it's a little bit rusty just there, just surface rust, and every time it passes the pads, it creates that noise, so it's nothing to worry about. That will get worn off probably in about 500k, yeah? Won't take long to wear that bit out, and it'll be all good. Oops. Different story on the right-hand side rear. We have a leaking wheel cylinder, all right? So I've got a camera set up really close. We'll have a look at it when I peel this rubber back, and you'll see how wet it is. And it's even put a couple of drops of brake fluid on the floor when I checked it. I wasn't thinking that we're actually going to have any problems here, but looks like we do. Let's have a look at it. Okay, let's peel this back and have a looky. Look at that. Oh, look at that. It's all wet. Okay, did you see that? It's full of brake fluid in there. See it there? Alright, that's a leaking wheel cylinder. Alright, that needs to be replaced. Ah, look what I found. Extra. Shoes are on the wrong way around. Alright, you've got a trailing shoe on as the leading shoe. You know, the leading shoe should be the smaller of the two shoes. So that one should be here, this one should be there. Alright, so whoever assembled this 9-inch diff assembly up must have had a bad day on a Friday afternoon or something. He wasn't orientating himself correctly. He must have thought that was the front. Alright, so we're going to have to change that, change the wheel cylinder. So looks like a brake job coming up in the near future, probably after Chrissy, I'd say. So yeah, not much we can do about this. It's probably pretty pointless in me adjusting it right now. Okay, so we'll put that into another lesson, adjusting the brakes up, setting it all up. So yeah, so we have found quite a bit with this job. Wow, I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, we'll investigate. We'll be able to get this wheel cylinder off now and measure it properly, but I'm pretty sure it's got the 7/8 wheel cylinder in it, which should be 9/16. So we'll look at that and get all that rectified, and we'll come back. We'll film me doing the whole brake job, eh? All right, guys. So I guess that's it for this one for now. There was a lot of stack of other stuff I was going to do, bleed the brakes, all that sort of stuff, but that's pretty pointless now. We've got to take the wheel cylinder out. So we'll look at all those sorts of jobs when we fix the problems up with the rear. We'll come back to it another day and we'll do the job. You'll see how it's done. Okay guys, catch you in another video.